Hi, welcome to Quietly Marketing. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about content marketing and skywriting. Was off the past few weeks. Didn't mean to be off as many weeks as I was, but a combination of vacation and then catching up from vacation, I just got a little bit behind here. So I'm sure my dozens of viewers will be disappointed, but here I am back to our weekly series. So today, content marketing and skywriting. The inspiration for today's episode was I was actually listening to a podcast that was all about interesting facts. It's there's no such thing as a fish. It's one of my favorite podcasts, and they were just talking about the history of skywriting, and a couple facts really just kind of stood out to me from a marketing point of view. So, skywriting has been around for a while. So I'm not going to go into like when it was first started, when it was invented. That was more what the podcast was about. But what got me thinking was how it was used as an advertising and a marketing device. So in 1922 was the first example of it ever being used, and that was in the UK by Sid Pike. I believe I have that right. And what he did was he simply went up in the sky and above London wrote Daily Mail, which people in America might not be aware of it. It's one of the most popular newspapers in Great Britain. And all he did was simply write Daily Mail. And because it was such a new form of advertising, something that people really hadn't seen before. People might have seen a few skywritings, but certainly not a advertising of such. It was actually quite effective. But let's fast forward to really when I think it became something popular. So Sid Pike came over to America and decided to form the Skywriting Corporation of America. So this was his plan, was to create business out of this, so businesses could hire him to go up there and do some skywriting. And there weren't very many people who can do it. Even today, there's only 5 people who skywrite full time. But back then, there was really just one. So what he did as a form of, he was thinking, how am I going to get the word out there about myself? How am I going to get awareness for what I can do and my capabilities? This sounds like a problem that all new businesses or new campaigns are going to think of as well. And so he thought the best thing he could possibly do was simply showcase what he can do and introduce himself. So above Times Square, he wrote "Hello USA." That was it. And then the next day he actually went back and said, "Call so-and-so like this." So actually gave his name and what he does. But originally all he'd written was "Hello USA." And that just immediately just struck me as, brilliant. He was showcasing what he does, and he did it in a message that was essentially a teaser advertising, which didn't really become popular until the 80s and 90s, but it was essentially creating a word-of-mouth buzz of, well, what is this? Like, if they knew it was skywriting, then Hello USA, who's saying hello to USA? So that just created a lot of buzz and created a very successful company for him. So the Skywriting Corporation of America, the most popular brand that they had very early on was Pepsi. So you can see this was successful, and many people were thinking this was the advertising of the future, that everyone was going to be doing skywriting in some way, shape, or form. It never took off to the degree of maybe they thought it would, but it was still very, very popular. Now I think it's been relegated to people coming up with original ways to propose to their girlfriends or things like that. But back then it was very revolutionary. So this got me thinking, is my favorite types of advertising campaigns are teaser campaigns. I'm a movie buff, so I certainly love teaser trailers that give very little away about the movie but still garner excitement about it. I think most people's complaints that they have with trailers nowadays is they give away too much of the movie, and I would agree. But teaser trailers give away the feel of the movie, give away some basic premise of it, but without actually giving away much of the plot. And today, people have even gotten to the point where there's actually trailers for trailers. So there's like a teaser trailer for the trailer. And I always get caught and I watch the real trailer, but the teaser trailer is always better because it gives nothing away, while still garnering attention for the movie. And this is exactly what Sid Pike was doing when he created the Hello USA. It was awareness, it was a teaser, it was people want more, and you should always be wanting to give people wanting more. So this is kind of going down to the overall theme of today's video today, which is creating awareness, creating attention. I'm hesitant to use the word viral, but it's how do you gain attention to your brand, to your product. And you have to create something original, you have to create something exciting, you got to create something that's going to have buzz behind it. In the 80s, the Mac had their Big Brother commercial, which showcased nothing about Mac. It showcased nothing about what they were going to be doing with it. You knew it was a Mac product and it got all these awards, but it mainly just created more questions than answers. Nobody had an idea what kind of product they were talking about launching, or what it was going to be. It just had this really cool commercial that was almost like a movie trailer, and then a date behind it. But that's my favorite kind of advertising, because it made people start asking questions. It made people start researching. Yeah, in today's world, that'd be very easy to find out what they were probably going to be launching, because you could go online. But back then, all it did was create a buzz, and people wanted more. And since I've been speaking a lot about Snapchat recently internally in the company, as we all know, it's getting bigger, and I always loved Snapchats, the way that they gained attention. And I personally feel they managed to do this by creating a lot of, well, what is that? And having people going and researching on their own and just getting on their phones and being like, well, what is this? And they've done this in two ways. One was actually just their Snapchat billboards. It was like minimalist advertising. When it was just starting to get big, I was on vacation in San Francisco, and there was just a big billboard with the ghosty on it. And I knew what it was, but I was traveling with my wife. She had no idea what it was. And immediately we had to go find out more information about it. And I was like, I think that's Snapchat. Kind of remember hearing about it. And as a result, I had to go look it up and find out more. And I'm sure it's what a lot of people did. That's what's cool about a poster that grabs your attention, or something minimalistic or unique. It makes people think and have to go find out more. They're going to ask their friends. They're going to spread word about it. And my final thing today is, if you look at what Snapchat's doing with, again, billboard advertising. I'm talking about skywriting and billboard advertising. Welcome to the 1920s and 30s. Marketing campaigns that still work today. I'm a digital guy, but let's not ignore them. Snapchat recently started creating billboards using minimalist billboards, and essentially what they were filters, very popular filters on Snapchat, but the filter became the whole billboard. As you can see here, one's for Chicago, other cities, other campaigns were on there as well, and only hardcore users of Snapchat would immediately understand what that campaign was for or what that was advertising. But what it did, once again, was people were then asking other people, what does this mean? What is this? And then people would explain, well, this is actually a filter that you can put on your Snapchat, and this is what it is. And maybe people aren't even using Snapchat, like, oh man, that's cool. I didn't even know they could do that. Again, it's creating a little bit of a teaser that's creating people to ask questions and go do research on their own. And if they're willing to do research on their own, you've got them hooked. You have a much more engaged customer than somebody who's been forced to watch a commercial. You're not forcing them to do anything. You're making them see a billboard, see a teaser, and it's up to them now if they want to research more. And if you create a compelling enough teaser advertising piece, people will do the research on their own for you, and that's an engaged customer. So thank you for watching today, and I look forward again to talking to you again next week.